Another live service game, and unsurprisingly, another failure. It seems developers just aren't getting the hint that these kinds of games are like lightning in a bottle. Just because one game found success doesn't mean they all will. And the latest to follow this dying trend is none other than Rocksteady's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Harley, no!
Worth it.
See, the problem here is they started working on this game almost 10 years ago when live service games were kind of in their infancy. Rocksteady is just way too late to the party when everyone is absolutely sick of them now. Was Rocksteady the one to push for this live service game, or was it, WB? I feel bad for the developers if it's the latter, knowing what kind of games we could have been getting the last 5 years over what we just got spoon-fed. Could Suicide Squad, been a good game if it removed the live service elements? Well, not really to me, as I feel the characters and story are like hot garbage. While some parts of the game do offer like replay value, like different builds and a progression system, it's pretty, very clear the live service elements for this game were tacked on at some point in development. In doing so, the game feels half-baked and just straight up boring to play. Now, as a live service game, we have to talk about, the monetization, the microtransactions, which is where these developers make all of their money, as the seasons and updates are usually free. The problem is, recently, it's becoming more and more apparent that monetization in games has reached an absurd level. You've got Diablo 4, as an example, charging as much as an entire game's cost just for cosmetics. Suicide Squad follows a similar example. Keep in mind, both of these titles were not free to play. So not only are players expected to spend, a full price for these games, but then you have to spend even more on cosmetics and customization, instead of simply having those unlocked through missions and in-game progression. While such a monetization model is okay for free-to-play games or relatively low-price, couple dollar games, nowadays it's becoming the norm for full-priced $70 games to have these outrageous microtransactions. And that's not even speaking on the quality of this game, which even by Rocksteady's own comparison looks worse than a game they made for the previous generation of consoles back in 2015. Seeing some of these comparisons just hurts to see. Yes, I know one is a multiplayer, live service shooter with a lot more visual gameplay elements happening, which is a trade-off for a crisp, beautiful single-player game, but it's just hard not to notice the distinct lack of quality. Increasingly, developers have been attempting to add live service elements to their recent titles. While it can work out in some rare cases, Suicide Squad shows that it's just such a very easy trap for these developers or publishers to fall into, especially so for developers who lack any prior experience in designing and maintaining a live service title. Rocksteady, like many before it, dove into the deep end, chasing a trend that they thought was popular at the time, and they missed their window by many years. Just to name a few failures, an example of other live service games, we have Halo Infinite, Marvel's Avengers, remember Evolve, Babylon's Fall, Anthem. I paid $5 for a brand new physical copy of Anthem, and I still feel like I was robbed. BioWare was one of my favorite game developers of all time. While I didn't find Inquisition or Andromeda as good as previous BioWare games, I still really, really enjoyed them. It wasn't until BioWare decided to chase the live service trend, a genre of games they have absolutely no history with, and unsurprisingly ended up bombing so bad that the newest Dragon Age game they're developing, Dreadwolf, is said to be removing all multiplayer features to go back to what they do best, single-player driven, role-playing games. Rocksteady needs to do the same going forward after this disaster. The only good thing going for Suicide Squad is that it could hopefully kill the live service trend if developers and publishers start wising up. I wouldn't be surprised to see Rocksteady eventually, dip out of the promise that they made to introduce consistent seasonal updates to the game because the player count has dropped to like the thousands on Steam. If nothing else, it would be good to see the title be what delivers the finishing blow to like recent live service games, gamers clearly don't like a lot of these games anymore, and it's time they go the way of the dodo, sadly. Anyways, thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for, well, pretty much just more of me making videos on all things video games. Catch you next time.